been seeing a lot of people asking on a forum I'm a part of how you play Xayah. So this is a game that I did really well as Xayah, so I'm going to try and use it as an example, so that way I can help out some of the people that are wondering. So I'm playing this game as ADC Xayah with a recon support, so I got a little bit going in my favor. Um, and I start Targons. A lot of people start Targons right around now to try and help Ardent rushing supports rush Ardent. And I personally think it's a really good idea. Um, but it's also iffy. Because if you have a kill lane and you need that, or you need that sustain or something like that, Doran's Shield and Doran's Blade can be better options. This is something that I take in lanes that I feel like we're going to be able to sustain normally. And the enemy, we won't be all-inning them intentionally yet. So that's why I start this. And alright, a little bit about win conditions and stuff like that this game. I always like going over a little bit of win conditions. Their team has good team fight, good pick, and good split push. It's got a lot of stuff to work with. But it also has some pretty troubling champions to play when behind. Jace and Vayne both don't do very much when behind. And Blitzcrank, if his team's behind, he doesn't do too much either. So their team is, as long as you don't fall behind, you're doing pretty good. Our team has a lot of crowd control and engage with Lissandra and Rakan. And we got an okay, team fight and an okay split push. I don't know how good our pick is compared to theirs, but it's still pretty good. So we both have pretty good team comps. Mid game is probably going to be on their team 1-4, one person split pushing, 4 people grouped, or 1-3-1. They could do either depending upon who gets fed on their team. Our team is pretty much gonna want to group early. That's because Darius, although he can split push, he's never going to be able to take towers if, Jace can wave clear, and he can. So he's never going to be able to get anything if the Jace stays with him. He's never going to be able to, if the Jace plays it right, he's never going to be able to engage on the Jace either. Lissandra, she's not going to have too much luck because Syndra has cleanse. So even though she has a lot of engage, she's going to get, counter-engaged really easily. So you want to group, you want a team fight. That's what our kind of condition is right now. So that way the Lissandra can put the CC on someone else, and we can just blow them up and win the fight. So our team warded early. We knew they had a Blitzcrank, and this is something that every team should do no matter what the enemy team comp is. But look how easy it is. You just walk away, and then they didn't get their kill, so they walked away. Pretty simple stuff. So this game, what my strategy is to not fight too early. Since I have Relic Shield, I'm not going to be doing too much damage in trades, and the only thing I really want to be doing is making them second guess whenever they want to trade. And you'll see a couple of things that I do to point that out. So one of the big things that I see is whenever an enemy laner has a lot of pressure, so like Blitzcrank, right? He can hook you. Okay, sure. You get off of the wave, and if you're off of the wave, that kind of signals you don't want to fight too much. And if you signal that, the enemy is going to start zoning you and, harassing you and taking a lot more advantage of that. You want to have a little bit of presence in lane. That's why I'm stepping up to these minions, and I'm just watching where the Blitz hook is, keeping a minion between me. And the Rakan is doing a great job too. He's playing up. So since we're both playing up, the Blitzcrank is playing back. You see, he's not looping around the minions. He's not zoning us out. The Vayne's not tumbling into us, queuing. You have to show that you're not afraid of the enemy. Even though we started Relic, we're not afraid of them. They're not at a point they can kill us in one go. And if they go in on us, they're going to take a shitload of damage too. So I stay on the minions here, and I stay on the minions, even though I know we're getting close to 2, and they're going to get it slightly ahead of us. And I'm still just focused on the last hit. I don't really care. We're really close to 2, and here's the minion that's going to give us 2. And as soon as we get 2, we turn on the fight. Don't turn on this while you're still 1. If you're going to do something like that, you just need to walk away. Don't take the fight at all. Let yourself get zoned out of one wave. It's fine. And then you see some great Xayah mechanics there. Okay, and since I had a Rakan support this game, that's the main reason I started W. You can start W or Q. Q is going to give you a little bit of an easier snare once you get to level 2, but it's going to give you a worse fight level 1 and level 2. If you don't get your snare off level 2, it's better to just have your W. If you have a Rakan support, pretty much you should always start your W because it gives him attack speed too. So if you watch, whenever I do use an ability and I start putting down feathers, I'll actually go back to that. I'll show you. So you see these feathers right here? Look at how the Vayne has to walk away from the wave. She goes in here. Feathers they have so much pressure. So whenever you want to just show your enemy laner, basically, you know how I said they back off of the wave, or we would back off the wave and the enemy knows so they can play up? Putting down feathers makes it so that way they can't play up. If they play up, you'll just root them, and then they'll learn their lesson, or they'll die, and then learn their lesson, but it'll be probably too late. So once again, even though Blitzcrank is stepping up, I know we can still fight them, so I'm not giving him the aggression he wants. I'm not playing all the way back here. Keeping minions between us and Rakan staying down here too. If the Blitzcrank tries to go in on us, we have a good way to walk out still, and he'll take a ton of damage while walking up to us because he has to walk all the way up to us if there's minions. And then, right there, little things like this. We have this warded now. Now that we have this warded, and we get this wave a little bit closer. See, as soon as we get this wave closer, and I can, watch this. I tell him, hey, get out of my bushes. Attacking the enemy shows them that you're not afraid of them. Little bits, you don't have to do too much, but look how far now he's playing. He's not right at this edge, he's not looking to hook us, he's not looking to engage. We're showing them that we're not afraid. And we start walking away here, and I kind of get in a bad spot. He probably could have hooked me here. You don't really want to be right here, because you then can't, you don't have as much room to dodge. It makes you a lot easier to predict, a lot easier to guess where you're going. That was me just trying to get the last hits. So level 3, I got my Q, and that's just to make sure I had all my abilities to put down all of my feathers. And that's just for zoning and stuff. So, standard laning. So once this wave starts getting into me, I start putting down feathers. And this is because the Blitzcrank's going to want to be playing up. And if the Blitzcrank wants to play up to where I am, he's going to have to pass these feathers that I'm putting down. See, I'm putting down feathers. And look at the damage he takes. If he wants to play up and wants to try and zone me out, I've already set up what I need to punish him. So then he has to walk away, and he gives us you know, our space. Something that's really important about playing bot lane as AD carry or support is to watch the minimap and no timers. So around 3.5 minutes, that's whenever the jungler should be topside if he's standard clearing and looking for a gank on either of these lanes. And he shows up mid, so that means that we need to know where he's going after this, because he could be coming bottom soon. They have enough to set up. He could also be looking to, and look at that. Did you see on the minimap? We saw him go over here. We see him coming down. And then my Rakan dies here, and I heal too late, and then I blow flash. So I saw the Gragas coming down, and they still have some of their sums, and I have none of mine. So they're got a 3v1 bot lane soon. You know what I do? I start pinging. I'm saying, come help me. And see, the Gragas was down here, and they're looking for it. But because, you know, my jungler was down here too, that's the reason I stayed. I was looking for them to dive and try and turn it. And now look, you don't want to be at the tower alone, but I wasn't really alone. I had Lee right here. So if they started looking for a dive, I just start walking away. And even though the Gragas was here, my Lee Sin was here too. So he was in a bad position, the Gragas. He wasn't able to dive me. And then look, even though, you know, we have nothing right here, the Gragas is over here. You don't just give up the lane. But let's also look at some of my positioning here, because positioning is really important on all AD carry champions. So I'm staying further away, and the Rakan did a really good job of blocking that hook, because I'm pretty sure I would have been hooked there. But right here, really slowly, see the Vayne's turning around? I turn around too. And I'm making sure that I win this trade, see? And this is knowing your champion's range, so you can't always do this. So she turns around a little bit and starts, coming back to us. Um, but we were going to win that trade because we were just watching how far I could stand away and setting up those feathers from the earlier fight. She wasn't paying attention to those. Look how much pressure we have in this lane now. We just got ganked. We just lost all of our sums. Their jungler was bottom, and it was a 3v2, and you're able to turn this by playing around your feathers and positioning. So let's watch that one more time. Focus. Watch what I do with my feathers and positioning all the way back here. All the way back here. So I know they're going to dive me, and I'm watching what they're going to do. They start walking up, I start walking back. Gragas is down here. I'm looking for the Gragas. I walk away. Do you see how I'm walking away here? I lost the vision. I'm walking away. Do not walk into those bushes. Do not walk into these bushes. When you lose that vision, walk away. And you see where the Vayne is over here? They didn't have minions, so she would have had to come all around like this, and all those feathers would have been in place for her too. Paying attention to cooldowns, watching his body slam. I'm staying really far away from him and the Blitzcrank hook. But I'm not giving up because the Rakan's here now too, right? So I'm walking back up this way because I want to get experience. I might have been able to turn on this guy, but I didn't really want this fight just yet because, see, I could have gotten pulled here too. I was standing too close to that wall. Feather placement. Setting up for the priority target. Snaring him. He can't fight us because he's really low. If he had stayed, he would have died. Blitzcrank's playing back. I don't really know why the Blitzcrank's playing that far back. But that's what you do. You watch for your feathers. You don't melee mode. You watch cooldowns. You respect cooldowns. Walk further away. And you watch your auto attack range. Whenever they start walking at you, you don't want to take free damage. Walk away. So now we have lane priority, even though, and we were able to push that all the way up. Okay, it's a Vayne. Maybe you couldn't push it up against the Jinx, but we were able to push all that all the way up without any sums and 3v2. So whenever I recalled, I had a BF. That was a really important buy because now I actually have combat stats. And we're losing lane right now. We're losing the lane right now because they got that kill earlier. And I'm respecting this a little bit, but I know Vayne doesn't have any items just yet. She has not shopped. If you look over here, she has Dorn's Blade. So I'm just making sure that we're behind minions. You see, he had to flash away because of the feathers. And you see what I do here? Even though Vayne's exhausted, do you see my life? So I was paying attention to like my positioning, but not necessarily cooldowns here. The Blitzcrank has to flash away because otherwise he would have died. And you see how I'm walking away here? I'm walking away. Vayne could two-shot me. If I walked back in range, she would auto-attacked and Q'd. But she only could Q and auto-attack, right? Right? Do you see how close this is? Do not turn around. Watch your positioning. And now I'm waiting for Rakan to land crowd control before I would go back in. And as every roll, you see, he just used his priority cooldown. Vayne's out of position. Really smart. He doesn't turn onto the Blitzcrank. He turns onto the Vayne. He also shielded me, which, I could have died there. It depends on what happened. But he was smart with who he turned on. I set up my feathers, and we got that kill. We chased down this kill, and he gets it, which, was good. Do not let other people get kills. Always secure if you can, no matter what role. Support, jungle, mid, whatever. Always secure kills. So now we're doing pretty well in lane. Vayne has shoes now, but the best part about this matchup, Xayah versus Vayne, is Vayne's all about chasing, and if you chase a Xayah, you're going to get rooted and maybe die. So I'm playing up here. I'm looking for, a little bit of fighting, because Rakan, right? Rakan has a lot of engaged potential, and then we blow both of her sums. I knew she still had her sums, but we got close. I probably didn't chain my CC well enough. Ability max this game, you want to max E every time you play Xayah, but as a secondary max this game, I'm maxing Q. I don't really know what to max second. I think Q and W both have their uses. So they both have less cooldown, and W doesn't give you damage, but it gives you extra attack speed and reduces the cooldown. Important stuff. So at this point, we've killed the Vayne a couple times. Other lanes are doing all right. The score's all right, but it's still a pretty even game. Lee Sin's doing Dragon. I really want to get first turret, but there's no way we're going to get turret this wave, and I quickly realized that, so we go over to Dragon. So this positioning here is an obvious me baiting, right? It's pretty obvious. If you're the Vayne in this situation, you don't want to step up to this. Just let the wave come to you. And I'm trying my best to zone her out of the cannon. So now there's feathers up if she walks forward. But see, she can't. And she's really smart. She's watching the map and see the Kron and the Lee Sin show up mid. So I'm no longer baiting. Now I'm just straight up out of position. So she looks for this. She goes in and she plays really well dodging that. But the Rakan comes back. I think he has shoes already. Rakan does not have shoes. Alright, wow, he's really fast then. But you want to play around your support. The only reason we turned on this is because, so right here, Vayne's kind of far away. I flash early, I ward behind me, and I stand here waiting for him. Right? I actually thought the Blitzcrank was roaming at this point, but, disconnect is okay too, I guess. So first turret is really important for your team. It's not good to try and stall out this lane, even though we were doing really well. You want to just take the turret. So, a lot of the times, whenever you take bot turret, you want to rotate and you want to get other turrets. You want to go top, you want to take top's turret, you want to go mid, you want to take mid turret. But the third option, of course, is just to keep pressuring your lane. Now, I was kind of watching the map, and, Vayne's not far behind. She's still pretty strong. And Darius can get kited out pretty well by Vayne. And I don't want to be mid because Syndra can one-shot me. So my only option really was to either do like some crazy three-way swap, which, is got to be too difficult to really, do this game. I don't have words right now. So my option was really to come back bottom. So I type into chat right now. I'm like, Lee Sin, come bottom. We're going to start looking for another turret. And I'm playing back here, trying to bait a fight. But I have Targon, so it kind of gives away that we have a Rakan in the bushes. But whenever the Vayne steps up, start laying down feathers, and you see we're so much stronger than her right now. If you're asking, about Xayah not doing damage, look at my build right now. I have Essence Reaver and, some part of a crit item. That's watching cooldowns right there. Xayah's ultimate is not for damage, it's for dodging. If you use Xayah's ultimate for damage, you are vastly misusing the ability. It's the same thing as an auto attack. And, it puts down a lot of feathers, but that's for, if they chase you after you dodge, you kill them. So, do not use her ult for damage, use it to dodge. Body slam coming at me, ulted, dodged it. Really, really easy. So, because I told Lee Sin I want to push this turret down, he comes up and he wards. And we keep pressuring this. And we're all watching the map right now. Syndra goes missing. So we have to leave this turret, right? We cannot step up. So we play this really, really safe. We got a ward over here, we got a pink in here, and we got a ward up here. If Syndra was coming and then we see her top lane, we would have spotted her out. And we still don't see Blitzcrank. He's probably AFK again. No, never mind. He's right there. And the Rakan goes to bait. This is how you kind of press your advantage. You look for picks, you play with vision, and you keep pressuring this turret. So they're going to have to send some more people down here because it's not working with just the Vayne and the Blitz. So by doing this, you don't have to split mid, trade lanes mid, because you're getting mid turret by drawing the Syndra bottom. And here's a really good fight. Rakan goes in on the Blitzcrank to try and, prevent him from walking up to me and hooking me. And I get stunned. Now, the Syndra does not have R, and at this point in time, I did not know that. But after I realized she didn't R me right away, I was like, she probably doesn't have R. So look how close to dying I get here. But then you start thinking about cooldowns and where to walk next, right? I'm not walking back, I'm walking forward this way. And because I walked that way, because I knew where she expected me to go, I was able to dodge that Q that would have killed me. And instead we pick up 2 kills. And if you look at the map right now, we got Darius down here. We got Lissandra pushing mid, so the Gragas has to stay here. And, we're in good position to do this. We're looking for this turret now. You don't have to chase crazy for the kills. We let the Vayne get away, and we're taking this. Objectives are always better than kills. You want to always try and get these turrets instead of chasing down kills. If you chase down kills, you're not thinking about, steps ahead. Because what is the point of kills? It's to make it so you can take objectives easier. Right? So if you can just take an objective, why the fuck are you chasing a kill? It's not important. You really don't need to do that. And we're sitting around to try and take an extra turret because mid still has to stay here. We got one guy dead for a while. And I'm not exactly sure how safe this is. We're all ready to run away. See how I'm walking back? I'm walking back again. He really wanted to stay for that turret, but it's not something we could stay for. I think we die here. And I thought that Syndra was going to ult me there. Mispredicted that. But let's talk a little bit about this too. So in a situation like this, where you're gonna die, right? He gets the turret, he knows he's gonna die. And we're gonna die too. No matter what we do here, they're faster than us. Blitzcrank with his W, Vayne with her movement speed, they're faster than us. So the Rakan does the smart thing here. And he turns around onto them, because we just walk away, we would just die. So we have to look for this fight. And then positioning is a really important thing to note here. Originally, I was chasing the Blitzcrank away from them, but once the Blitzcrank was walking away, and I had this blocking, I was looking up at them. Because these were the priority threats. My goal here was just to get down a shitload of feathers, and I got the kill on the Blitzcrank, but if I had walked a little more down, I would have gotten more important kills. And then I went on the Syndra instead of the Vayne, so I don't get this. But you really want to think about if you're going to walk away, or when you're walking away you're going to die, you got to try and turn. So we tried, and we did, we got one. And all that time we had mid still pushing. And we got bot wave coming in too, so they're going to lose something up here. Waves of minions, not the tower. And, okay, what do you do after this? So we just took all the way up to the inhib, right? All the way up to the inhib. And I saw Darius was getting strong, and Vayne at this point was actually pretty far behind. So at this point, I say, hey, Darius, swap me. I'm looking to try and get this top turret. And Darius says, alright, cool, I'll go bottom. And this is also really smart. You see how the Rakan plays this again? We were walking up together, and he's letting me bait this. So if you're the support in this situation, try playing like that. Play with vision. Vision is really important because that's what lets people go in on fights, or that's, take stupid fights. So we get this tower, and I want to try and pressure another one, but we lose vision on a lot of people. We don't have vision on the Blitzcrank. We don't have vision on the Vayne. So, and the Gragas too. Like, we did see them bottom, but I already had pinged, like, where are they? So the Recon goes to try and ward. You do not want to stay here unless you know where people are. So we see the Gragas, and we still see where people are. So it's safe to kind of stay here. Jace is respawning soon, so it's not going to be safe for long. I think it'd take one more wave and then leave. And then, the Darius, as I said, was strong enough to take these fights. You don't want to swap too early. You want to think about, can he win? And now I can't stay here anymore, because, like, the Jace is going to be here soon. So, we start walking away. And after I respawn, we actually go back bottom. And that's because now it's about the same. Like, outer turrets are free gold, but inner turrets, you're already going to be pushed pretty far onto their side of the map. Like, you don't have the same security you do as being on, like, the center of the lane. You're way up here. You got plenty of room to get flanked. So I'm thinking, okay, let's look to try and get this inhib. Let's go bottom. And Darius is down here too, so this is just us grouping. And look at how much respect the enemy team has for me at this point of the game. This point of the game, it may not have seemed like it, but I have 9 kills. That's from rotating. That's from pressing my advantage here. Ends up in 9 kills. Xayah is really strong. You have to be watching your feathers, though, and you have to be watching cooldowns. Because it's like Sivir's Spell Shield. That's her ultimate. Sivir Spell Shield. And her feathers are basically Orianna's ball. Very, very important 2 mechanics of playing Xayah. If you're talking about Xayah doesn't do damage, then you're not playing the same game, because I'm not running anything different. This is just standard runes and masteries. I'm not even running. I got the Lifesteal Keystone. So this fight was really easy for us, and I don't think that I did anything special at all here. I walked up, I got body slammed by Gragas. He flashes for it, though, I think, yeah. And they're already super duper scared. Look at those zoning feathers. They gotta walk away. Xayah's feathers are, a super important part of her kit and a huge part of her damage. You have to be paying attention to them. And you have to be thinking about how you can use them. So a lot of the times people might try and stay for something like this or rush Baron afterwards. You need to reset really, really, really quickly this game in this situation, because Vayne's definitely going to get this tower, but she's going to have a huge wave. So if we try and get something immediately after, she's going to get 2 turrets or maybe even 3 or whatever. So we have to respond to this really quickly. We also have a pretty big wave top. But you have to be careful, because if you recall, obviously, everyone on the enemy team is up and they could rush Baron. So that's why our whole team is walking over to where Vayne is. Because this way, we keep our presence on the map, and they can't do Baron. If we had just recalled, they could have rushed Baron. See, that's watching cooldowns. I knew he was going to hook me. And I didn't have my feathers because I missed my stun earlier. Did it a bit too early. And here I get stunned and I die. I was not respecting cooldowns there. I thought that I'd be able to dodge it with my R, but didn't have the reaction time to do that. So instead I died. And this is something that a lot of Vaynes do, a lot of AD carries do. You overstay and you're thinking about getting that outplay. You don't have to really worry about outplaying if you take smart fights. If you're trying to outplay by taking dumb fights, you can lose a lot of games. And believe me, I've lost a lot of games by doing that. You just saw me do it right here. Because after I died here and Lee Sin died, let's just say we didn't have this inhib down. They could have again gone to Baron. And that would have put them so back in this game that they might have even gotten a lead after that. A lot of our gold is coming from turret advantage, because they haven't taken any outers except for mid. So take this, 300 for everyone. Take turrets, two of these, 300 for everyone. They get back in this game really fast. So throws like this, you really got to avoid. Don't try and outplay, take smart fights. Okay, so here we're all kind of playing around Baron. Now, what should you do in this situation? Because you can't start Baron, obviously. If we start Baron, we're at a choke point where they can flank us. Syndra's really strong. See her kills? She got a lot of kills right now. And we don't know where the Vayne is. So the Vayne could be on this side still, or she could be on this side. So what I do is I walk back to the wave and I start pushing the wave. Because this means that they can't do Baron either. Even though we're giving them positioning over here, we're pulling our team together in the lane, and we're making them come to the lane. Because if they don't come to the lane, and they try and, do Baron, we'll just push it up. We'll take turrets. And that's an okay trade. And we still have vision control over here right now, so they'd have to go and clear that out first, so they'd waste even more time. And we got a Darius teleport coming in. He sees this wave pushing in, and he knows they want to respond to it, so he's trying to keep them here. I think it's an okay teleport. My positioning here is actually really bad, because I don't want to flank this. Even though I have my ult, that's just ass gonna get fucked. So I'm waiting for crowd control, and see, the team fight then, I was lucky enough to have it collapse this way, right? If it collapsed the other way, I would have had a lot of trouble. Because then I would have had to walk all the way around this way. And I have 10 of my team's kills. Take those out, all of a sudden, we're losing. Well, might still have a gold advantage, but it's really, really important that I'm in these fights. So Syndra has to walk away, and Syndra's their most important player. And I actually disconnected here. But I was lucky enough to not die. I was flashing to try and get the last hit. So this is kind of about pressing your lead. What was the problem here is if we had turned to go to Baron, it would have been a 50-50 smite, and they would have had 4 people that could come to Baron. So, and we would have been low. See, I'm still low. Baron is a throw play here. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to try and prevent the Syndra from being able to heal by pressuring this tower, and while this minion wave was up here, try and take this tower. This is watching where you have advantages on the other side of the map. Jace had to clear this, so he wasn't going to be mid. You have to try and take this. And as I said, don't chase kills. Kills help you get objectives. Go for the objective. I was about putting feathers down earlier. And now we're going for the end here. I don't know if this is smart. A lot of them are dead, but they're all respawning pretty soon. And then we start taking it really fast, and it's like, oh, okay, this is fine. I was really hesitant to stay for this. And then I get ulted. But we still take the game here. So, highlights to take away from whenever you're playing Xayah. You got to be watching where you're placing your feathers. And because that is probably 80% of the mechanics to Xayah. Knowing what to do with your feathers, watching them, and making sure you get your roots off. The rest of it is knowing cooldowns of enemies so you can play around them. Like the hook, I dodged the hook several times this game by knowing he was going to use it on me. I dodged the body slam or respected it. And then whenever you can predict those skill shots, you can use her R to dodge the important ones. Her R is not for damage, it's for dodging. So once you get those 3 things down, using her R for dodging, predicting enemy skill shots, and placing her feathers in, the right way, Xayah becomes really, really strong. And then beyond that, it just becomes a positioning question. Because a lot of AD carry mechanics and stuff like that is standard across the board. Um, Pressing your lead this game, whenever I stayed bottom to push this, that's a kind of game assessment. That's not something that's Xayah specific, that's kind of just experience. Um, to do that, you want to make sure you have vision. Do not push up without vision. And you have to respect Mia's. Whenever the Syndra was not mid, we backed off to this bush, and we were waiting. You do not want to get in a position where you're feeding. If you're up here and you're pressing a lead, the reason you're doing that is to extend your lead. It's not because you have no idea what to do. If you're doing this, you need to play smart with it. Get your vision out, and make sure you are only taking these fights when it's smart, when there's an advantage here. So, after that, I started looking to rotate. And looking to rotate is assessing what your team is probably capable of. The Darius had a lot of money at that point, and he was kind of losing against the Jace in CS. So the Jace was beating him in lane slightly. So I was thinking it's going to be smart to swap in a lane with him, start taking his towers down. It helps him out, helps me out, helps the team out. So while he was down here, he was even able to kill the Vayne. So he was strong. It's just that this is a really annoying lane. Jace is a lane dominant champion. I never swapped mid this game because the Syndra can one-shot me. You gotta respect people who can just kill you. And, if I was to go mid and try and push this lead against an Anivia would just wave clear forever too. That's not gonna get you a lead. So that's why early game, I wasn't trying to swap mid, and I wasn't trying to swap top. I stayed bottom with vision. And then later I swapped top. I never swapped mid. Because the one time I was mid and I tried to outplay, do you remember that? I had a lovely death. I'm not going to look forward to show it again. Yep. And for my build this game, this is kind of a standard thing that I do with her. You want to get Essence Reaver first, and then you want to build your crit item. I think that in most games, Phantom Dancer is pretty damn good, because she doesn't really need the wave clear that Shiv has. She doesn't really need the range that Rapid Fire Cannon has, because, her W makes her faster, gets up there, and her poke isn't really the important part, it's the feathers. That, whenever you recall them back, it does shitloads of damage. So, what you're looking for is to get some kind of crit item next. Random Hurricane, I think, is okay. It turns you into, like, an AoE machine, but you aren't going to always have AoE fights, especially with people that are going to be diving you in different ways. The Gragas is going to be trying to tank you by himself. Syndra's going to try and burst you before she even gets close to you. Jace is going to just poke you and then dive in on you and kill you in one hit. Yeah, you're not really going to get, too much use out of Hurricane this game. For my third item, sometimes you would get, an armor pen thing here. Since I was so far ahead, I started going for Infinity Edge to help kill some of the squishy people on their team. I knew 3 of them at least were going to be building just full damage. But sometimes you want to be thinking about your last Whisper here. And if I wasn't ahead and the Syndra was still like this, I would actually be looking to get Maw at this point. Because the Syndra, if she one-shot me, I'm not able to do damage. No matter how much I respect her cooldowns, she could just kill my team before I'm able to do anything. And you look across the board, I was pretty much all of the kills on my team. So let's say I was slightly ahead and I died to this. All of a sudden, we can easily lose a fight. After these items, I'm not really sure what you should be getting. It's super duper game dependent. Sometimes you would get the lifesteal, sometimes you would get Blade of the Ruined Kings version, sometimes you would just go for Mercurial because you need the QSS part. But for a completed build, you need to have all 4 of these, Last Whisper, and then something else. You need to have Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver, Phantom Dancer, shoes of some kind. Sometimes I actually get Tabi, depending upon what kind of lane I'm against. Sometimes even Mercs, but this game wasn't worth Mercs. But yeah, that's it for this game. I hope it's going to be helpful to someone.